Hello, welcome Solix Nation. That was a different start than we normally have. That was a cool new video that we are putting out. Let's talk about this video, okay?
Okay.
That was actually the beginning of a video that we will be premiering next week on this call. So it's kind of
if all goes well, right? I mean, you're doing something you never tell Loran to do, and that's promise something before next week.
I have a lot of faith in Austin, our videographer. It's almost done.
And it looks great. And as you can tell, obviously that start is to set the tone and get people's minds attuned to what they're about to see or what is going to be shared with them. And what's the idea of this video?
Well, this video has been in the works for quite a while. Basically it's an intro to AO Scan. It is for those people. How many people do you have come up to you and they say, "What do you do? What is this scanner? I don't understand." So it's hard. It's hard to put into words all of the amazing things that the scanner can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So the part that you just watched is actually the intro to the whole video. The video is going to be around 7 minutes long, perhaps just a touch longer. So that's the beginning of it. You will be able to have the video you just saw on its own. So if you want to send that out as a teaser, you can do that. The rest of the video talks about frequencies. What are frequencies? How do they affect your body? And then goes into inner voice, vital scan, comprehensive scan, SEFI, and just explains what those programs are.
Yeah, it's a really interesting and cool way to not only deliver a consistent message, but also it helps you understand who you're talking to. Mm-hmm. I mean, often the case is, people will ask you, well, what is it you do? They ask me, what is it I do? And what am I involved in?
Yes.
Oh, if I could get that out, that would be great.
We have a frequency for that.
Okay, good. So I respond with some sort of message that works for me, but then often the case is they're left wanting more.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit more detail.
Yes.
That's where this video, I think, fits in.
I think so,
If
too.
you've piqued someone's interest, you can then share this video with them. That takes them through this 7-minute education, and then they can come back to you and you can connect, do a remote scan, do a face-to-face scan for that matter. And that sort of qualification in the process takes place where they understand what you're trying to express, and thus you're into the experience part of it, of actually doing a scan for someone, and they kind of know what you're talking about.
That's the thing. If you play this before you do a remote scan on a new client or friend or whoever it is, this is a great video to play beforehand. Have them watch it so that they know what's coming. So we're very excited about it. We will show it to you next week.
It's going to be, we hope you love it, and we welcome your feedback also along the way.
Yes.
Now, speaking of the scanner, last week in the process, and Lauren's going to do some of this work tonight, talking about hydration. And we've had a little bit of this experience because of the invitation from Loran, we've been digging deep.
Now, if any of you right now are saying, really, hydration, I'm with you. I had the same issues. I've been dragging my feet, having to read this book that Loran gave me to read. And I will tell you, though, I dug into it this weekend. I listened to a really great podcast this weekend about hydration, just an MD that specializes in that subject matter. And it's actually fascinating, and it's not just drinking water. We're not talking just go.
No, it's drinking Diet Mountain Dew.
It's not. Okay, no, don't take your advice.
No, I learned that too.
So
I learned that doesn't work so well.
In order for and I'm sure many of you know this, but in order for your body to work at top performance, you need to be well hydrated. And I can't remember the exact. I think she said it was like 97% of the public is not hydrated, which is insane. She said, okay, one thing I love that she said, do you ever get that 2 o'clock slump where you're exhausted and you reach for caffeine, or you think maybe you need some sugar, you think you have low blood sugar?
Every day.
Yeah, and she said it's usually 99% of that is because of you're dehydrated, not because you have low blood sugar.
Yep.
Isn't that interesting?
It is. It's fascinating. There's so much in this, and there's so much expertise out there that we'll try to assimilate in such a way that we can deliver. But with our intent, it is to align how hydration impacts the scanning experience and how much better frequencies can be identified, picked up, and learned. Optimized, yeah. When the body is fully hydrated.
Yeah. So it may not be exciting to hear that that's what we're talking about today.
So exciting. It's going to convert me from Diet Mountain Dew to water. This is great.
It's a lot more interesting. It's a lot more interesting than I had expected. And if it helps the scanner work better, then I'm all for it.
Okay.
So that's coming in just a little bit. And Loran's going to cover that, but he also has a few other things to cover. So.
All right. So staying with hydration, let's keep with the flow.
Oh,
how stupid.
That was bad. That should go on the bloopers.
That was a terrible joke. Yeah, that should go on the bloopers. All right, let's flow right into
Top Enrollers.
Top Enrollers right now for the big contest. And obviously, last week we got a lot of attention.
Yes.
As Loran took us around the Quantum Wellness Center, and we looked at the major machines and the experience that you can have. Now, one thing we want to remind folks and clarify here is, originally we said the first 3 to get any of these achievements, and that was changed last week.
Yes.
It is anyone who gets these achievements. The 15,
if
the 25, or the 30.
Qualified enrollees, that means if you earned a liftoff bonus on those 15, you earned the week. If you earned 25, you earned the week here plus the airfare and hotel. If you enroll 30, then you get to bring someone with you.
Wow. So a lot of attention on there. I know a lot of people are working hard. They saw the value, I think.
I agree.
But so let's talk about the 4. The 4
so
we're
we
going to
have 4 people.
Yep,
we have 4 people that we're going to announce this week. So it's the week of August 9th through the 15th.
Good job. Yep.
And so we have 4 people who are in our top spots.
Okay. So I have 2. You have 2.
Yeah. You want me to go first? You want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Paige Haynes and George Grant. Those are my 2.
I've heard
I'm
those
cheering
names
you
before.
on, Paige Haynes and George Grant.
These are not in any order, just so you know.
No, they're not. No. They're not in the order of how many you have compared to anybody else. It's just these are the top 4 right now.
The top 4. So Paige Haynes, George Grant, Mashenka Barlag, and Amanda Matthews. Those are the 4. Great job, all 4 of you, and we can't wait to see what you do next week, as well as the rest of you. Like we said last month, it's the same this month. Just because you're not on the list this week doesn't mean you're out. So keep working hard. There still are a lot of people on the so far this month list. That's just for the week.
Well, was it Nedra Blitz that told us about getting out of your comfort zone?
It was Nadia Lutz.
Nadia Lutz taught us about getting out of the comfort zone, and that's where the magic happens.
Yes.
And that really is. You want to come have the magic happen. Maybe get a little uncomfortable. But let's jump into the call.
All right.
Okay.
We'll see ya.
Hey Solex Nation, I'm Stacy Ellie and I'm a fellow quantum living advocate and energy healer, and I'm here to tell you some tips about using it for back to school and with your children. So a little bit of background around me. I am actually a full-time single full custody mom to 3 kids in elementary and intermediate school. So a little chaotic over here. Anyway, with all the changes that have been going on in our lives lately, my youngest, 8-year-old Logan, actually has developed a lot of fear. And so he has been asking me pretty regularly to broadcast him fear. He calls them his fear frequencies. And so what I did recently is I actually made him his own fear medicine. And so I took some of the pellets, and so these you can get in your back office, and I actually muscle tested and created a playlist for him that I imprinted into these pellets. And so I put him in charge of it, which is pretty amazing, and told him that he can use it whenever he feels like he needs it. And so he carries this little box around with him quite often. And the playlist that I use, however, this is not the end all be all, is it has inner peace, mood support, anxiety, and then it has 4 of the quantum flower frequencies, which are amazing for emotional stuff, by the way. Willow, cherry plum, mimulus, and heather. Those are the ones that he needed. But you don't need to know how to muscle test to do this, moms. You know intuitively what your kids need. And so this is just another way to help my son, to help our kids. I am really excited to report, though, that he had his first full day of school on Wednesday. He took a few of those pellets before he went to school, and when I picked him up that afternoon, he was just beaming. He was so excited, and by Friday, he's already made a new friend. So it's amazing. Some of the other ways that we use the AO scan is I have one of those big Berkey water filters, and I actually have created a profile under Spaces and Objects for the actual Berkey itself. I fill this thing up every single day, and I erase the frequencies, and then I set the device actually on top of it, and I imprint a frequency playlist also into our water. And so this playlist that we use for our water has abundance, wealth, and success, confidence, self-esteem, and love. It also has energetic clearing, gratitude, health, strength, and recovery, inner peace, and love. And so my kids and I are drinking that water with those frequencies daily. A lot of schools may not let you bring this to school, and so what I have also done is I just recently ordered these Ionx bracelets for my kids, and so not only is it helping with EMFs, but it's also helping with, strength and all of the other amazing things, flexibility, etc. But then you can imprint frequencies into it. And so think about all the things that our kids struggle with right now, or we're worried about, is focus or immune support, right? We really need to be supporting our immune systems these days as much as we possibly can, and the AO scan is another way to do that. With my son, I will actually imprint frequencies for fear or anxiety or the quantum flowers or whatever he needs, and then he will have that on him all day long while he's away from me. So it's so amazing how we can use this device, and I recommend playing with it. Play with it, figure out what your family needs, and make sure you share. We need to be sharing how we're using these playlists and how we're using this device, because it can literally support us in every single area of our lives. So just wanted to share that with you all. Happy back to school, and thank you so much. Have a good night.
Hello everyone, I just wanted to take a few minutes and share with you something that I've discovered recently as I've been doing some research. One of my roles here at Solex is to dig into some legal data. I dig into patents, and I start to review the clinicals that sit behind those patents. And so I want to share with you something that has been connected, for me at least, the dots between clinical work and actually what our scanner can do. If you've ever looked at a clinical study, or at least even referenced a clinical study and been referenced to one, you probably recognize that in these studies, they take a specific item or thing that they want to prove whether it's effective or not, and they apply that to thousands of people. So for example, if we wanted to learn if vitamin C was effective in the human body, we would take a certain dose of vitamin C. We'd take 1,000 people, take a portion of those people and give them a sugar pill and tell them that it was vitamin C. And then we'd give the rest a certain dosage, or maybe multiple levels of dosing of vitamin C. And then we'd measure whether that dosing is effective or not. Now those studies, they cost millions of dollars to do. Every time they're done, it is just a very expensive and what I think a very inefficient way of learning about the human body, but it's the best way we have right now. And science has chosen this as the model. Now, for those doing the research, ultimately you and I want to know whether that dosage of vitamin C is valuable to me, to you, in our bodies, in this environment. Well, those studies really can't tell you that. All they can really tell you is generally it's effective or it's not. One of the recent patents that I was reviewing here at Solex pointed out this so well and connected the dots to the supplement library. You see, the scanner, as you know, is this tool we use to learn about the frequencies of the body. Part of that opportunity is to add the supplements we use in our day-to-day life to measure the frequencies of those doses. And we do a scan and we're presented with, today I need vitamin C, or today I might not need vitamin C, based on the frequency of my body and the matching frequency of those supplements. What I'd like to say regarding this is the big companies that produce supplements, they want you to buy 30-day supplies every 30 days. Here at Solex, we have no interest in that. It doesn't mean that we don't make supplements. Ionix Gold, we love this product. We think it's a fantastic alternative in the marketplace for fulvic acid. But we don't necessarily think you need it every day. We think you only need it when the scanner tells you that you need it, when you match up with it, when the frequencies match right. That's when you dose. That's when you take it. So these big clinical research, these studies, yeah, they're the best we have right now. My guess is most of those people doing those studies have no idea about the AO scanner. They have no idea about the supplement library, but you do. So the challenge is, if you aren't using it, use it. If you aren't using it enough, use it more. You see, there is a subtle underscoring here. One of the things, let me just wrap up with this thought. The $149 fee for access to this technology, we recognize that that is a significant portion of anybody's paycheck. We know that when you choose to spend that you believe in what we're doing and we believe in what you're doing when you use it. We want to make that as easy as possible. One of the underlying silver linings in connecting these dots is that, guess what? You may not need all of your supplementation every day. What does that do? Well, that's going to save you money over time. If you don't need that vitamin C every day, all 30 days of every month of every year, you actually save. You don't have to buy it as often. And the truth is, here at Solex, as we expand what we can find as the best supplementation in the marketplace that's better than what's out there, we don't want you to buy it from us every 30 days just to buy it or to consume it just to consume it. In fact, we want you to add those doses to your supplement library. And when the scanner says, hey, today's a good day for this or that, that's when you take it. So buy it when you need it. Save the money in the interim. And hopefully that helps just a little bit more in that redirecting some of the spending in your life that enables to maximize the benefits of the AO scan. So hopefully that helps, folks. I just wanted to connect those dots for you, and you can better use the supplement library just like I can. Thanks.
Well, it's good to be back another week. These weeks fly by so fast, don't they? And guys, some of you guys are just burning it up out there. It's so exciting to see, and to see the enthusiasm and the family atmosphere of the whole group. It just makes it really fun. Okay, now we've been talking to you a little bit about dehydration. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. But before I jump into the hydration, I caught a couple things on Facebook that I think I'd like to address. One of the questions that came up was, how does the biocharger and the Pure Rife, and somebody else had asked about the GB4000, how do those Rife devices compared to the AO scan? Well, the AO scan in and of itself is not a Rife device. It is a device that creates frequencies, and as you know, in your SEFI program, there is a program called Acoustic Generator that isn't live yet, and it will be. Don't know exactly when. In the next few months, that will start to come live as things become available. But let's talk a little bit about Biocharger and GB4000 and the Pure Rife. These are good machines. And there are other machines out there that are good, but I talked about this a few months ago about Rife. A real Rife machine is a machine that broadcasts a frequency. In other words, it's not something that you touch or that touches you physically. It is a machine that generates frequencies and broadcasts those much like a radio station does, but instead of through a radio antenna, it does it through a plasma tube. Dr. Rife, when he was doing his experiments, he'd taken an X-ray tube out of an X-ray machine, and he had it evacuated of the gases, and he put 5 noble gases in. And with that, he then basically made a very sophisticated, for his time, radio station with a lot of power that he would then broadcast those frequencies, those radio frequencies, into that plasma tube. And instead of creating an X-ray, it created a wavelength of frequencies that was a combination of radio signal, a wavelength, and light made by different gases. So it wasn't just one or two things. We know that there were 5 gases at one time, plus the frequency. So there would have been multiple levels or layers to the signal coming out of that tube from both sound and light. And we know it was successful because it killed all of his specimens in his laboratory. He had to actually get new specimens because it killed them. All right, so Rife, and I know I'm taking a very short question and making a very long answer, and I hope you'll bear with me. I hope it's helpful for you. The frequency is important. Rife also found that the frequency, a solid frequency, was only partially effective. What really made the Rife frequencies powerful in able to shatter crystal, or in his case, his amoebas, was the way the frequency was created and delivered. So he would have a frequency, and it would run through a series of transistors that would create what we would call a ripple effect, and it would span 11 octaves in each direction from that frequency. So if the frequency was 100, it would scan down to 89, and it would scan up to 111. And those wavelengths, those step downs, were the real magic of the Rife signal, because just like we as human beings, we evolved to survive, so do those viruses and those amoebas. They're constantly in a state of change, evolution, to survive. That's their whole thing, is they want to live. And he found that these side bands, these ripples that came off the main frequency, would mitigate some of that evolution or that change that they were making in order to survive, and that's why it was so successful. So when Dr. Rife passed, all of this information was left to his partners. Dr. Crane was one, and there were other people that helped, but not all of the information was available. And some of that was because Dr. Rife didn't know who he could trust. Well, there were lots of issues. So not all the information was there. And the ensuing machines that came out after him didn't have the same effect that the original ones did until much, much later. 30, 40 years later, they started to realize the ripple effect, the side bands that were coming off those, and that they had to be broadcast so that it went through the individual, not on top or touch. Like water will take the path of least resistance. If I put a current on my skin, it will take the path of least resistance, which is going to lead me into hydration in a minute. But it will go around the surface of the skin instead of going through the body. And so as science became more educated, more aware, more enlightened on what Dr. Rife was actually doing, then these machines started becoming more and more effective. And there are, like I said, we mentioned a few of them earlier, that are good machines, and those are machines that operate the same way that Dr. Rife made his, and that is through broadcast. Now, we make one, they make, these other companies make them. Now, there are a lot of machines out there that say that they're a Rife machine, and they're putting frequencies in, but without the broadcast, you can't get the sidebands, you can't get that ripple, and so you're dealing more with a very specific frequency. Those would be more like, in my opinion, more like a TENS device where you're putting electricity to somebody. If you're having to hold it or put your feet on it, that's not a historically correct Rife machine. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it with that. But those devices that are out there, those are good devices. Now the next question that was asked is, can the SEFI frequencies be used on those devices? And the answer is a conditional yes. If they have an audio input, then yes. You can take your audio out of your device and plug it into any one of those, and it will produce those frequencies. Whether or not their devices will be able to create the sidebands or the ripples is going to depend on the software that's built into their devices. But yes, our signals will. When the time comes that we introduce our Rife, and we're working on a mini one, when that time comes, it will have that software and hardware that allow it to make the sidebands, the ripples, to where the frequencies are more complete. So I hope that that very, very long answer to the very, very short question was helpful. Okay, so now we want to talk a little bit about hydration. And you're probably thinking, why in the world would AOScan and Solex have any interest in hydration? Why are we talking about hydration? We sell software. We sell some hardware. Well, it's really important. If you've gone out to nature and you've seen a river, and you see how the water flows through the river, and if the current's not too heavy, you can walk through that water comfortably. Okay, you can pick your feet up and walk right across the river. As summer comes and fall goes into effect, the water goes down, the water runs slower, it becomes more muddy, and walking across that river becomes harder because you have now the mud. And the mud is restricting your ability to flow through the water. And then pretty soon, it's just a dry, wrinkled dirt bed, no more water. Water is so important to our body. 75 to 80% of our body is water. And 85% of what's up in our brain is a saline water, a salt water, because we need it to communicate both the electrical signals in our body as well as the ability to move the nutrient through our body and to move the toxicity out. So without the right amount of water, hydration in our body, we become more like a muddy river. And if we continue to allow ourselves to become dehydrated, we become that dry river bed. So if you're starting to see wrinkles in your face and on your hands, you don't have that flexibility, there's not enough hydration because the collagen can't do its job because you're not giving it the nutrient, the water, the mechanism it needs to do its job. So, AOScan, it's communicating to you with frequency. So those frequencies are like your feet walking through that river trying to cross the other side. And if it's muddy inside, those frequencies are not going to go very well. And if it's dry riverbed, well, then a whole lot of nothing will happen. There's been a few people comment, I love my AO scanner, but I'm not seeing any results. And I don't want to give up. And we don't want you to give up either. And it might be that you're not hydrated enough. So let's work on getting the hydration up. Nothing substitutes for water. Pure water, good water. And unfortunately, most of our tap water is neither of those two. So good water is important. Get a good RO filter at home. Drink your water, make sure your filters are clean, but get that water in your system. If you're going to drink coffee, make sure that you drink some more water to help balance that. One way to tell if you're dehydrating is, and this sounds kind of odd, but measure your urine. And I don't mean in a cup, just, when you go to urinate, pay attention to how much you expel and compare it to how much you take in. And if you're a beer drinker, a soda drinker, I promise you're going to be expelling a lot more than you took in. Now, is there water in those things? Yeah, there is water. Unfortunately, there's not enough water to compensate for what else is in those drinks to stop the dehydration. So I'm not saying you shouldn't have a coffee or a soda or a beer or one of those things, but just make sure that you got enough water to keep you hydrated. Your AO scan will be more effective, more efficient. You're going to get better readings, more consistent readings if you're hydrated, because the mechanism for getting the nutrients through your body to get the toxicity out and the frequencies to where they need to go is in place. Now, I have a whole list of reasons why you should dehydrate, but I think I've bent your ear way too long for tonight, and I'd like you to get back out and do what you need to do, because I want you to spend a week out here with us. Guys, thanks for everything you do. Till next time.
Loran, that was pretty cool, learning about hydration. I learned quite a few things, and I'm learning a lot more. I'm learning that I can't just get it all out of Diet Mountain Dew.
No.
And so my trick is, for every Diet Mountain Dew that I drink, I'm going to drink the same amount of water.
Okay.
That's
so
just going to get me going.
Almost back to zero.
Almost back to zero.
There you go.
Exactly. But hey, it's a work in progress.
It's a work in process.
Right? Yeah. But you know what we need to do, though?
What do we need to do?
We have the month-long contest going on. Let's give away something for this call.
I like that.
Yeah?
Okay.
So this call, YouTube, since you brought up hydration,
Okay.
let's do this. If you go on YouTube to this call once it posts, and use the comment section and tell us what you do.
Your tip
On how you try to stay more hydrated.
There you go.
I think we're all going to learn something from each other, and I hope I don't get bashed for Diet Mountain Dew. But you know what? So
You
be
will.
it. That's
You
fine.
will.
That's fine. Okay, so go on YouTube, make a comment.
Your best tip on why you're staying, what keeps you hydrated, and then I think Stacy gave us a good idea for a gift.
Yeah.
What do you think?
The fear medicine.
The fear medicine.
For her son.
That's
How
right.
about a bulk pack of sugar?
I like
sugar
that.
pellets.
I like.
Okay.
So whoever gets, we're going to do a drawing
Yep.
of all your tips that come in off the YouTube call or the YouTube, your messages.
Mm-hmm.
And one of you that's drawn is going to receive the bulk 400-gram bottle of the fear pellets or the sugar pellets or the fear medicine, whatever you choose to call it. It's yours.
Yeah. Stay away from medicine from a compliance side of thing.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
But
Kai's here.
Stacy, your son can use it all day long, and you use it with him.
There you go.
But we just won't put that on the bottle. How about that?
Not on the bottle.
Okay.
There
Well,
you go.
that's a great call.
Maybe in Russian.
You guys have a great week.
See you.
Bye. Everyone, this is Lisa Swensen. I don't know if this is going to make our blooper reel or not, but we're glad you're here.
This is Lisa, and she is our snack lady. And every day, twice a day, she brings snacks to our offices, and she's pretty much our favorite person.
Yeah, and she's a pro. All right, Lisa.
Thanks,
for being
Lisa.
on.
Say bye, Lisa.
Say bye.
Bye.